We are very fortunate tonight to have business coach Steve Feld, who has an MBA and is a certified business coach, author, and professional speaker, and an award-winning business management executive. Over 300 businesses have sought out his services to work with them on gaining much needed clarity, implementing solid strategic plans, and achieving positive growth results. Steve has built, owned, and operated 6 lucrative businesses. He has consulted with other businesses providing change management and process improvement. He operated within 3 Fortune 500 companies, manning and boosting an entire division for them. In addition to his extensive US experience, he worked with global business to improve and streamline their operations. It is my extreme pleasure to welcome Steve Feld, who is going to teach us how to get paid to speak. Steve?
Get paid to speak. It's as simple as that. At Toastmasters, we are speaking all the time, every week, maybe every other week or every month. Plenty of opportunities to hone in on those presentation skills. So why not get paid for them? We're going to talk about how to get paid to speak. For those of you who are looking to become a professional speaker, and for those of you who'd like to know, professional speakers, you get paid. Great speakers, presentation speakers, we do that every time we get in front of our Toastmasters Club. We're not getting paid, we're doing it for the love, honing our craft, maybe excitement, give us something to do. But it's fun. But we want to get paid because that's a lot more lucrative. And everyone has a gift, a story, something to share. There's different kinds of speakers, which we will be talking about. But what is your gift that you are more than willing to open up and share with the world and get paid to do it? And it's so much fun for those of you who have been on stages. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about how to get paid to speak. First, you need to know, what is your speaking why? Why do you want to speak? And why do you feel that you should get paid for it? Are you trying to give us, like I mentioned, your story? Maybe you're motivational. What is your purpose? Why do you want to get on stages and share your knowledge? You need to know that first. Next, are you passionate about it? How many times have all of us have gone to any kind of a conference, a lectured, all these kind of events, and you see someone in front of the stage who's super knowledgeable, but they have zero passion. And what makes us do as the audience? That's it. You need to captivate that audience. Are you passionate enough to work hard to get on stages and get paid to share your message? I always say, what's your USP? Your unique selling proposition. What makes you different? Now, I've spoken to many professional speakers, and when I ask them what is their USP, they all can rattle it off immediately. What makes me different than the next person? Well, I'm sharing this. I'm giving this. Things I don't hear from professional speakers is like, I like to speak. Of course you like to speak. You're a professional speaker. But what gift are you giving to the audience? What makes you so unique? You really need to know your USP, because when you're trying to get hired for an event, an association, a conference, whatever the case may be, that one of the questions is, what makes you different than the other pile of presenters I have to go through? So you really need to put some thought into it. What is your unique selling proposition? What makes you different? You got to have an elevator pitch, because how many times all of us, no matter what we do in life, people always ask, so what do you do for a living? If you have your elevator pitch for your business, why not create one for your speaking business? Because this is a business, you're getting paid for it. You need to come up with a good elevator pitch, because I don't know how many times I have spoken to the event manager and they say, in 30 seconds, tell me what you're going to talk about. So that's my unique selling proposition and my elevator pitch all rolled up into one. So they're going to give me at least 30 precious seconds to captivate them and think, I got to hire this guy and put him on our stage to talk, share his message with my tribe. So you got to have a good elevator pitch. This does take work. It's not some, I'll just knock this thing out. Got to hone it in. Remember, you're going to be competing against many, many other professional presenters. So be ready. What is your goal? Is it, like I mentioned, do you like to speak? Is that it? Do you want to stay local, national, global? Do you have programs to sell? Courses, books? What is the goal? Why do you want to get paid to speak? Your true why. What is it? The way I look at it, one of my goals of speaking professionally, it's one of the greatest ways I get to actually share my message, but not only that, helps me grow my business. Yeah, and helps sell courses and books and everything else, because I do have those other products, and we're going to get into that as well. Of course, a lot of them, we want the money. So if that is your goal, is just to make a lot of money, I have some good news and some bad news. A majority of all the professional speakers, which is about 98%, make less than $100,000 a year being a professional speaker. That is not great odds. That means that 1 to 2% are making lots of money. Now let's look at it. The top 1% are all household brand named individuals. We can go through a list of all professional athletes who get up and speak. They get paid probably 25, 50 grand, 100 grand or more for maybe 30 or 45 minutes to be on the stage. One time I got to see Terry Bradshaw, quarterback from Pittsburgh. I mean, he got up on stage, he goes, guys, I'm no professional speaker. And all he did was tell football stories. And then he tied it all up in a bow at the very end. If you guys thought I was just telling stories, couldn't you use all those stories in your business and help your business and your team grow? And it was like light bulbs went on all over the room. He only got paid 50 grand for 45 minutes. Not a bad day. And he does this all day long. So think how much you want to make. Is that your true goal? Then you better be really, really good. And you better have some brand name behind you. You want to share your information, your knowledge. That's one of my favorite things. What are you going to give to the people in the audience to help them make their lives better, their businesses better, change something about them, inspire them, motivate them, educate them? What will it be? Are you going to get up there and, as they say, sell from the stage? Now, many places that you're allowed to speak at, associations and certain conferences, it is a zero tolerance. You are not allowed to sell from the stage, period. So you can't make any offers. You can't even go down that road. They will yank you off the stage. And make sure that other presenters and other event planners know your name, and it won't be in the good way. But every now and then you're going to be invited to probably sell from the stage. Anytime I can find a place to sell from the stage, I'm going to try my best to jump on it. But a lot of those places are going to charge you a fee to get on their stage. And they're also going to take a piece of the action of everything you sell. Why? They did all the work, fill in the room. They're not going to let you just take all the booty and walk away. They're going to get a piece of that. And the thing I can tell you, as we say in Toastmasters, practice, practice, practice. For you to figure out what you're going to be doing on all these things, you have to practice your elevator pitch. You have to practice why you want to speak. What is it? Practice. Okay. Now, there are many, many different types of speakers out there. You have to decide and figure out, and you may need some help on this, what kind of speaker are you? It's not easy. Are you that motivational, inspirational speaker? The one that when they speak, you could feel the swelling of energy. You could feel the change taking place in that room. The second you get out of there, you just want to go and implement whatever they said to do. If they said go hug your loved ones, you're finding anyone you can hug. Those are motivational speakers. A good one for that is Tony Robbins. Highly motivational, inspirational, a little, very, well, let's take it up a notch. Very motivational, inspirational, but that's his thing. Are you an educational speaker? Are you providing content and delivering it so you are educating the crowd, the audience, and for them to take action on something? It could be on so many different things. Are you speaking to sell? Now, we've seen many of these speakers. It's a pure, I call it the hawk fest, because the second they get on stage, they are selling you. They're going to make you feel either bad that you didn't buy their product, and they're going to make you feel good if you do buy their product. So they're selling all their goodies. If you guys have ever watched QVC, that's speaking to sell. They're good at it. Infomercials are actually one of the best educational devices for us because they're actually teaching you how to speak to sell. It's a formula that they use. If you look at every single infomercial, it's a formula. So are you the one who wants to speak to sell, selling your products, services? Here's a fun one, panels. Some of the past even have a panel discussion. So you're on there with other experts, but you have to find a way to put your knowledge in there. You're not going to get asked, so what do you do? Someone already gave you that introduction. But being on a panel, you could actually get paid a lot of money to be a panel expert. We see it all the time. And one of the easiest places I can mention this is like a courtroom. They're bringing in experts. Those are panel experts. Believe it or not, there's an entire market that you could actually subscribe to be a panel expert for a variety of subjects. It's amazing what's out there. This is a great thing. If you have that certain expertise in a certain industry, get on those panels and get paid for it. An MC, talk about I think one of the easiest gigs out there. You got to be quick on your feet though. But an MC, a master of ceremony, just think of it. You get to get up there, inspire the crowd, bring them on in, get them excited for the next segment, hand it off, come back in. Hey, thanks, folks. That was great. Well, and then throw in a few jokes, corny jokes, and bring on to the next presentation. It's a great way to get paid and a lot of fun. Next, who is your target market? So you already know your USP. What are you passionate about? What kind of speaker are you? Who is your tribe, as you will? Who are you trying to motivate? Who are you trying to educate? Who are you trying to sell to? Who are you trying to be the expert in front of? Or being the master of ceremony? Who is your tribe? You really need to hone this in, because if you're a motivational speaker and you're going to a CPA conference, are they looking for motivation? Probably not. But are they looking for education at a CPA conference? Probably so. And if you try to speak to sell at a CPA conference, don't you think everyone's going to do a mass exodus in the back room? Because that's not what they're there for, unless it's been built like that. So you really need to know who your target market is, because that is who you need to focus on. And we're going to get into that a little deeper too. You also need to understand what kind of stages you want to be on. There's multitude of stages. So do you want to be at conferences? This is one of my favorite ones because it's exciting, has a lot of hustle and bustle, breakout rooms. It's a lot of fun. What about keynote speakers? So now you're either starting the event off or wrapping up the event. Now, one of the pros and cons of a keynote speaker is they don't need you to come back every year. They are always, those kind of events are always changing their keynote speakers to keep it fresh. But a conference may invite you back year after year if you're giving some kind of great content to their tribe, to their audience. Podcasts. Now that the whole world is shut down with live events, podcasts is something you should definitely be looking at. In fact, I just did 2 podcasts today. It is one of the best ways, what they say, they call this using other people's audiences. So the podcast host has built an audience, a tribe, if you will, and they already have these live StreamYards and all these other kind of platforms. You, as the guest, gets to go onto their podcast, share your knowledge. You could probably sell to speak to sell, and educate, motivate, whatever your type of speaker is. But that's the way to get in front of other people's audiences really efficiently. And you could be doing it anywhere in the world. That's another beauty of it. This one is hands down, you're going to probably do the best, create your own event. And it's also probably the most work. You're going to need some help doing it because it is a science. But putting on your own event, you now have to put those butts in the seat. You're not going to a conference where they're putting the butts in the seat, or the keynote where the butts are already there in the seats, or the podcast where the butts might be in the seat or they might be listening to the seat afterwards. But doing your own event is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. So you definitely need to get some help. Breakout workshops, they could be at conferences, all types of events. See if you could do a breakout. So you go to a smaller room. You're not taking all the attendees at the conference, just a small segment. It's a great way to get in front of people as well. And then, come on, training. So there's a lot of ways. If you are a great trainer, maybe that's your skill. One of the things I always see is sales trainers. So they go to corporations and they just do training events. You could do training on so many different topics for so many different people. But if you love doing the training, you're going to be your market. Just focus on people who want to be trained. And then do you want to be local, national, or global? Pros and cons, obviously, once the world opens back up, global will kick back in, same with national. So that means hopping on a plane, traveling somewhere, and living out of a suitcase for a while. It sounds glamorous. I'm telling you, folks, I've done it for years. It's not glamorous at all. It is, you get so tired of airport food, it's not even funny. And you just get tired. You just want to be there already. That takes up a lot of your time. That's time you're wasting of not marketing yourself, of not really working on your business because you're sitting in an airport, you're sitting on a plane, you're in a taxi, you're in something. You got to get there. You're going to be exhausted. But the money is very lucrative if you can get hooked into those kind of conferences and those kind of events. Plus, it's a lot of fun to go to other countries too. Okay, some back end items that we all need to take care of is you should have a landing page or a website that's, well, about you and how cool you are and why people need to pay you to speak. You really need to captivate it. So I actually shamelessly ripped off some material here. Don't worry, I let them know about it. So from Todd Henry, you kind of get the gist. This is above the fold, so you could see his header up there. It says everything right there. Do we know what he does? Right out of the gate. Now look, his USP is right there too. I've helped hundreds of thousands of people around the world do the best work of their lives. Right there, in your face. Does it show him speaking at a conference or an event? Yeah. Do you know what? No. Do you care? Not really, but look at that. That's pretty impressive. Get a nice shot. Anytime you get in front of any kind of a stage or on any stage, get someone to just take some pictures. Start it that way. When you're out doing conferences, get those pictures. You need to build a database up of your photos and your images. Michael Port, for those of you guys haven't read his book, Book Yourself Solid. Here's someone who's a professional speaker, and now he has, besides his Book Yourself Solid foundation, he also teaches people how to get on stage and become professional speakers. Why? He is one. He lives this. So he actually focuses on a lot of things for him to speak, and he is also teaching this. Very simple. So he's highlighting that he's a best-selling author. Great. What is your superpower? His is an author. A great book that got a hit. Oh, and we got to have this cool guy. Something very simple. And that was actually at a conference I did speak at. I wasn't on the stage at that moment. So I had to take the photo. But what is it that you're going to say to whoever looks at your website? Have some kind of landing page, a website, showcasing your talents as a speaker, as a presenter. Okay. Bio. Yes, it's about you. Just like Betty gave me an introduction, that was just a piece of the bio. When I'm speaking, I have another bio. It's full. People can actually download that off of my speaking website, my landing page. Why? Because event planners sometimes just want to go to one place and download all your material instead of asking you for it. You need to have a good, solid bio. The bio should actually also target who your target market is and what kind of speaker are you and where do you like to speak. Because as an event planner booking these things, they want to know all those kind of things. You should always have a speaker reel. A speaker reel is segments of multiple different speeches coordinated together to show your difference of speaking styles, vocal variety, hand gestures, different stages. You could do a lot with a speaking reel, but it's usually about 2 to 3 minutes long. It just gives the event planner enough to hear you speak and present to make a decision. Yes, it is that short, and you put a lot of work into it. A lot of times you can actually get the video from wherever you speak. Get that video any chance you get, grab it, because you're going to need that for social proof and cut it up for your own personal speaker reel. It's about you. You should always have top 3 topics with your description. What are your top 3 topics that you talk about? Have that with the description, so when people go, so what do you talk about? What do you want to speak to our audience about? You can give them some ideas. My personal favorite is when I hear that, I'm like, wait, because I target associations. What is the top 3 things that your members want to learn now? They tell me, great, that's my topic. Because whatever they say, it's going to fit into one of my 3 pre-packaged topics. Then I can just send them a description real easy. I'm about speed and efficiency, but everything has to be customized to each organization individually. You can't just copy paste all day long. You need to have social proof. One of the best ways to get social proof is here, this bloody thing, your phone. So you or someone at your event, a helper, whatever the case may be, can actually just go in and interview people with a phone, just get short little clips of people saying how great you were for your presentation and what they learned. Use all that social proof on your landing page, on your website. Maximize the effectiveness. When other people hear them speaking about you, that opens their ears. If you're sitting there going, how cool I am, sometimes we all shut down. So get that social proof. Get the testimonials from other people who attended and heard you. You could do that anywhere. Heck, you can even do it at your Toastmaster Club. Pictures. Okay, folks, with the advancement of phones and everything and 5G, that's great that you could take some really good pictures on your phone. Excellent. I still would recommend professional headshots, professional body shots. You need to have a variety of it and get some pictures of you in action on stage, because people like in action. They don't like you just standing there going. Get it with the movement, crowd in the background. One of the best shots you can have anyone get, it doesn't matter what kind of phone, get behind you, take a shot of your backside while the whole they can see the entire audience. That is some great social proof right there, just like you saw. Speaking clips. This is those B-reels that you hear about when I mentioned get all those videos from every time you speak, and then you're going to clip them together to make that speaking reel. So get as many of them as possible. A great speaking clip, which many associations ask for, is in 2 minutes, give us your topic, your description, what are they going to learn, and a little bit about you in 2 minutes video, and send it to us. You think that's challenging? Try shoving all that in 2 minutes and put your personality through that camera. So be ready for it. It takes longer to make those bloody videos than the 2 minutes for them to watch it. But you know what? If you're going to get paid to speak, this is what you got to do. Contact information. This is the kiss of death, I think, on many things. If you forget to put your contact information on everything, then guess what? No one's going to contact you. Simple as that. It sounds simple and mundane, but I don't know how many times I have spoken to professional speakers who said they never called me back. I never heard from them. And great, let me see some of your documents. Wait, how are they going to get a hold of you? You don't even have a phone number, an email, or a website, or nothing on there. So simple little things matter. Oh, make it professional too. So if it's your speaking, have something with the speaking in your name, for your email or a website, landing page, whatever the case may be. Don't put in your junior high email. Please don't. You actually have to make it easy for someone to book you. It could be electronically. That's usually the case nowadays. So if someone wants to book you from your landing page, book me, and then they can go in and fill in some basic information. It goes right to you, so you can get on the calendar. Make it easy for the event planner to book you. If they find any resistance or any struggle of booking you, guess what? Delete, next. Remember, it's very competitive out there. And a one sheet. This is almost a must. It's all electronic nowadays. Many events make you actually copy and paste from your one sheet into their format. So what is a one sheet? Well, a one sheet's all about you. This is actually from Speaker Hub. Very simple. This is like their format, general template, something to go on. Very super simple. Fill it in. Remember, you don't have a lot of text available, so they have to be impactful words. And look at right at the top. First thing, contact. Your byline, that's your USP. So make these words count, because you don't have a lot of them. Here's one from Jane Powers. Very simple. She actually is a professional speaker, but on her backside has all the logos, approved logos from where she spoke at. Very simple. So when people flip it over, they can see actually some social proof. I had to throw mine in. Very simple. Make up your own. I kind of like the Speaker Hub layout, but I've seen it in every different format. Just have a speaker sheet. And what are your topics? 3 topics, short little bio, services, and how can they get a hold of you? And what do you offer them? Simple. More back-end items. Intro bio, like I mentioned, I gave Betty an intro bio. Well, if I'm depending on the conference, I will change my bio based on how I want them to set up the crowd for me. I want them to warm up my crowd. So when I come on stage, let's go. I'm not rehashing my bio and trying to give showing that I'm the expert or I'm the person that they should listen to. That should already be done by the person introducing me. Have a great killer bio. Practice that in Toastmasters. You should always have a killer bio. CRM, a customer relationship management tool. You're going to be sending out a lot of material and trying to get on stages. You're going to have to keep track of all that. So there are many, many different systems out there. You know, everything from Outlook, HubSpot, Kajabi, Kartra, the list goes on and on. Find something that works for you. One of the easiest things I've found for my CRM, for my speaking side of things, is Excel. It's simple, it's easy to use. I can do it visually, so I can access everything really super fast. But then I do actually put it into my CRM. What do you have? Do you have books, programs? What are your offers? You should always, always, always have something else besides your gift of gab. It's nice to get up on front of the stage and talk and inspire, but you guess what? Your audience may want more. What do you have to give them? Remember, we're trying to get paid here. This is a job. Do you have books to sell? Programs that they can opt into and buy? Do they have consultations? What is it? You need to have something other than just getting on stage and talking. Give them something else. Scaling. You have to learn how to scale. So you can't be everywhere all the time. So scaling, the one way to scale is if you're on stage, I'll have them opting into programs or giving a special offer on programs is a way to scale your business. So now people are going through your automated programs, you're getting paid for that, and you're on to the next stage. People are buying your books and you're off to the next stage. People are opting in to consulting or talking to your assistant and you're off to the next stage. Scale your business because you can't just go from stage to stage to stage and survive. It's kind of tough. Staff, if you're an event speaking, or if you're holding your own event, you're going to need a lot of staff. But let's say you get invited or hired on to speak at a conference. Still, hire someone to help you. Maybe it's to be in the back of the room manning a table, selling your books and programs. You can't be on the stage and at your table at the same time. And you're thinking, well, as soon as I get off the stage, I'll just run back to my table. That doesn't always work at certain conferences and certain events. There are some times where the conference rooms are far away from the expos. So there's just no way you can get there because everyone, not everyone, quite a few people are going to come and approach you after your presentation. You need to be there for them. So having that help, someone manning the booth that you're not there because you're on stage, get the help. Contracts. Gotta have a contract. This is a paying gig. This is money in exchange for your services. You better have a contract because most of the event planners will give you a contract. Some are trying to do it all on a handshake, which is great, but you don't know them. They don't know you. So if they're going to pay you for their travel and hotel and everything, it needs to be in the contract and the set amount on when they pay you, how they pay you, everything detailed down to every little thing. T's are definitely crossed, I's are always dotted. This is your money. This is your business. Have a contract. Even more back-end stuff. Logistics checklist. So if you're going to travel somewhere, you need to have a logistics checklist. Simple little teeny tiny things. If you think, okay, great, they're going to have 500 people in the room. Well, obviously, they're going to have a mic for me. That's a false presumption. They might have a mic for the next person who asked for a mic. You didn't ask for a mic. You don't get a mic. Well, they have a screen. I can use the screen. They might not. You didn't ask. You don't get to use it. So you need to have a logistics checklist of everything you're going to need at that event that they're going to have to supply or you're going to have to bring, down to everything, even the type of mic. As you can see, I like using my hands. Me holding a mic is a very bad idea. But a lavalier, cordless, wireless, I'm all in. And I make sure to put that in my agreement because I like using the whole stage. If you're going to let me use the room, I am going to take that room because I want to go out and meet them. I want to draw them into my presentation. Travel information. This needs to be buttoned up ahead before you even leave the house with a suitcase. You better have your ticket. Who's paying for the ticket? What happens if something weather related? Who do you contact? You need to know all these things. Chances are it's someone in their operations who's handling all this. What happens if you get to the hotel and there's no room? Who do you call? These things need to be worked out in advance so you have a nice, enjoyable time. Make it seamless. One thing I've done with some presentations is they've flown me in and out with a hotel room for like maybe 2 nights. But I want to stay in that city for a couple extra nights to meet some friends or relatives. So what I said, fine, fly me in early. I will pay for these 2 nights. You'll pay for these 2 nights and then fly me out. Great. It's still the same to them. Doesn't matter. And then cost you 2 nights. Big deal. Your room setup is important. You need to know how the room is going to be set up. Don't think it's all going to be one way. You don't know unless you ask. So if you walk in at keynotes, most keynotes could be all at rounds because they're eating. You don't know that. I've seen keynotes where it's theater style. I've also seen it set up in classroom style. You don't know. You got to know how the room is going to be set up because you need to know how to work the room. Audio visual, kind of touched on that. What kind of equipment? Can you bring your own? Okay, you have your PowerPoint here. How are you going to get it to them? Will it work on their devices? When can you test it? Are they going to record? How are they going to do these things? Lighting, everything. You even need to know what the temperature in the room is going to be. Sounds crazy. That matters a lot. So you need to know who controls that thermostat. Obviously, you want to know how many attendees, because if you're giving away books, handing out stuff, you need to know how much to bring. Or can you send it early? Can they print things? Can they handle things? Can they distribute? You need to work out these little teeny tiny logistic items. And then who are the attendees? So remember I mentioned you need to know who your target market is, but you better make sure that's who you want to talk to. Because if you're talking to, say, CPAs, and here you are, you're thinking, hey, I'm here to sell from the stage, that might be a little clash. Where the CPAs are there waiting to gather information on the next tax code, because that excites them. But you need to know who are the attendees. Are there going to be big wigs of the company there? Are there going to be the owners of all the companies, all their vendors, suppliers, whatever the case may be? Who are these people? And always have a contact person. Not just, here's their phone number at the office. You want their cell phone number. When can you text them? When can you talk to them? You need to make sure that they're on your team too, because you're going to need that contact person. You don't want to deal with 20 people. You only want to deal with one, because that's starting to become a nightmare. This is a great checklist from Speaker Hub. It tells you everything like your travel, communication, presentations, before the presentation, after the presentation, the venue, the equipment, something that you could check off that you could take notes on. Very simple. And though, by the way, you can actually download this for free from Speaker Hub. They do have that available. They're always updating it. I like to go a little bit deeper because you might want to go deeper as well. But this gives you a nice little checklist of everything you need to make sure you're covering when you get paid to speak. All right. So we got all that back end stuff. Now we got to get those gigs. We got to get booked. Here's the easiest way to do it. Identify, you've already known your target market. So identify 25 groups, associations, companies that you want to speak at, that they have your tribe, they have your community. That is where your audience is. Who are those people? And then now you identified them. How do you find them? Oh, well, Google it. It sounds easy. That's it. Google it. So all I did was put in associations in Arizona, and here we go off to the races. Look at that. So now you have to go in, pick and choose who you want to actually speak to. Not everyone is your audience. You're not everything to everyone. So keep that in mind. Who is your tribe? Target it. Okay. How to get their contact information? Their website. I know I'm making this sound easy, but it's work. So you go into their website and find out when their event is. That's easy because it's usually under events. It gives you a description of the event. You can even look at who the past presenters were. It gives you an idea of their topics. And the odds are they might have an event person to contact that handles that conference, that event. It's all on the website. So get that contact information and then contact them. Don't be the greatest secret out there. You need to let them know that you're ready for hire and you have a message to share to their tribe. You got to get a hold of them. Got to get in touch with them. That USP. So what do you say? Well, you got to have a compelling script. It doesn't have to be long, in depth. You don't need to go into all the details of what you're going to talk about. Remember, you're just trying to get the door open so you can get to the next step. You need to have something captivating, compelling, so they want to hear a little bit more and think, yes, we'd like to have you at the conference, but then the next call, they might ask, give us some more. I just need to get in the door. It's like a resume. It's just to get in the door. That's it. So you need to have a compelling script, your USP. Folks, event planners are horrible. You got to follow up with them and follow up with them and follow up with them. Because you got to think how many things that they're handling. They're handling a lot of things. Book the gig. The whole goal is for you to get the gig. So these are steps to get to the gig. Be professional, be determined, have a system in place. That's why I said I like Excel. I could see it. I could see who I called, who I need to follow up with on a very timely manner. You got to stay in touch with them. Call them every year. If you don't hear from them, which will happen, keep following up, keep trying. Believe it or not, people do fall out of the speaking rotations. One of my favorite tricks is, and I learned this from a great professional speaker, they said, when you get booked in an event, the first thing you tell an event planner is right after you sign the contract, listen, I am there during that time. If anyone else falls out and you need to scramble to fill that spot, I want you to think of me. And then I'll take like 3/4 of what you were going to pay them. It's going to save you hotel fare, airfare, all these other expenses. So I'm your best deal instead of you scrambling to go find someone else. I will bring a second presentation on a different subject that will enlighten your audience. Guess what, folks? It happens. Speakers get sick. Speakers get snowed in. And you're there. You want to be that person that they can go to. Okay, you got the gig. Now what? Get that contract signed. Plenty of contracts out there. I'm a big believer having a good contract is going to save your butt. Sometimes when you look at the contracts that they provide you, it's very weak. It doesn't give you any payment details. It doesn't finalize the logistics of the event. That all needs to be in the contract. Why? Because if they say it's going to be in classroom style and you get there and they're all in eight top rounds, that means 8 seats to a round, that means some people have to crane around and move their chairs. That's different style. Maybe you had a worksheet that they need to work on. That's going to make things a little awkward. You need to work on these logistics. Get them your bio. Bring a hard copy of your bio with you all the time. The reason is people lose stuff. Emails disappear. Bring it. And provide the event with a presentation description. It has to be compelling because you may be going against other presenters at that time for a workshop or anything else. And you want to capture more people into your workshop than the next one. So provide them with a captivating and compelling description of your event. Book all the flights, hotels, get that all buttoned up immediately. Why? it kind of locks them in. Now they had to put money down to get all that. Guess what? You're coming. If they cancel everything, it's all on them. And repeat. So go through the same cycle and repeat it all again. You just rinse and repeat all day long. And don't forget, get paid to speak. It is a business. You want it to be a business? Get out there, put yourself on the stage. I swear you will enjoy it and you'll love the revenue that's coming in, but it is worth getting on the stage, highly competitive. And Betty, any questions or anything?
Steve, thank you so much. We do have one question that's popped into the chat already. You made a comment about what else do you have to offer. What if I'm just starting out and don't have anything extra? What if I haven't written the book yet? What do I do?
Great. That's always a good one. You got to get on stages. So that's your primary purpose. The secondary is now how to create those kind of things, is think about who your tribe is. What kind of things could you offer them? So even if you haven't written the book yet, you can also get help writing a book, Ghostwriters. There's plenty of those. But what ends if it's a course or something and you have all this knowledge in your head that you'd like to share? People can actually help you write a course. There's plenty of programs out there like Thinkific and so many others. So you can actually create a course over a weekend and put it in there. So it'll actually come too, and I've seen this and I've heard this from many presenters where they have a presentation that's captivating, it's sharing a lot of knowledge. And then what they do, there you go, there's the course. That's it. It just goes in deeper now in the course and they can get paid for it. So they actually created it through their presentation. Now they're just giving a little more of the minutia in it, and there's the course.
That's a great tip. Thank you. Audience, we can take more questions. We have about 11 minutes for Q&A if you guys want to chime in with any questions or put them in the chat.
And I know one thing that's been coming up, because I've spoken to many presenters, everyone in the last year obviously shut down their conferences, their events, their annual meetings, everything else. But they did go virtual. They postponed a lot of them, and some of them went virtual at the end of last year. What I'm starting to see is they're now starting to open up live back in person, starting in probably the third and fourth quarter of this year. So now is a great time, because they got to think, they had all these conferences booked. Presenters were all solid. I mean, lock solid. Everything's all locked up. Conference that goes away. Some of the presenters are horrible over Zoom, believe it or not. Some people need it to be in live. So they bowed out. Well, what the conferences did was pare it down to like maybe only industry specific people, not bringing in outsiders. Now going back to live, guess what? There's a gap there of they are now looking for qualified experts, presenters to share their knowledge, expertise at these conferences. So those are starting to open back up, and it is a mad fury trying to get in there right now. So it's still going on. It's a good opportunity right now.
Steve, you mentioned about the travel's not as glamorous. I did that myself for a couple years, and I totally agree with you. Do you typically put anything about frequent flyer points in your contracts?
I don't. I took the, I don't know how long ago. I've never heard it come up in a long time, but I know it depends on the IRS taxation and all these other things in there. But one thing I try to do is if I'm going to go to like say Cincinnati and do a conference, why not look for another conference that's in Cincinnati that's related to what I talk about? And then I get a double booking.
Oh, great tip.
So I try to do that. Another thing is before the world ended, I actually got to do it one time before the world ended, was getting booked at a location. Then I created a workshop earlier in the day for a different target market. and found joint venture partners in that city to fill the workshop. So I did the workshop in the morning, and then later in the afternoon, I did a different workshop for the conference. So they weren't conflicting, but it was all done under one plane ticket, one hotel room. So
Great tip. Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to plug for us to watch for?
I do monthly workshops for business owners. So I don't know if that, I do those. I have a lunch and learn tomorrow with a partner out in California. He works in the retail space. He's a retail consultant. So he has these brand new programs, and we kind of just, let's do a lunch and learn together. Those are fun. Well, it's virtual because he's in LA, but it's a lot of fun to actually meet these kind of people. And he's a professional speaker and professional author, all these things, and a consultant. He's a really great guy, super knowledgeable. And I learn a lot from those people as well. Oh, and I saw, how do you determine your topic?
Yeah, how do you determine your topic?
So my best way is I always have 3 topics, my go-tos, if you will, my go-to presentations. But I like targeting associations. So what I ask them is, what are your top 3 things that the members are requesting information on? The reason I do that is odds are it's going to fit into one of my 3 topics. But now I'm making it sound like I am actually customizing a presentation to that specific association. And I'm more of a hero now. And I always say this to the person who's booking me. Is there anything else before we solidify the topic that can make you look like a rock star for hiring me? And they always laugh. But the reason is, I want them to remember me for next year and give me referrals, because event planners talk together. They're in their own association.
They have their own association.
Yeah. Not only that, you don't know everyone who's in that crowd. So in that crowd may be someone from a CEO of a large company who's part of that association, but now they hear you speak and they say, you know what, for our personal annual conference, for our people, we want you to come in as the keynote. You never know where it'll lead. That's why you want to make it very impactful for that group, because it could just keep on going.
And follow-up question, do you stay away from religion and politics?
I do, because it has no bearing in what I talk about. I know people come up to me and they're like, well, the political climate said, if that's the way you think, then that's what's going to govern your business. You know, there are countries that love that. This isn't one of them. You're focused on your business. That's where your focus needs to be.
Sure.
Plus, it's 2 areas where, honestly, it's just not relevant to anything I talk about at all. So I just stay away from it.
And unless you are actually paid to be a political expert, it's not a good idea anyway.
Yeah. And I know a couple people who are pastors in front of the church. Guess what their topics are? Very religious, but they're very motivational. But that's their audience. That's their tribe. And I would expect, if I didn't hear that, I'd be disappointed.
Sure.
Because that is who they are. That's their core. Same with a politician. When they get up and do a keynote, what do they talk about 9 out of 10 times? Politics. Why? We're expecting it. They're a politician. Now, if they went off the subject and started talking about Hello Kitty toys, we would be probably walking out the door. It doesn't relate. It has to be fitting to who you are, what you do, and your message.
Are there any other questions from the audience?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, go ahead, Randy.
You mentioned that the speech should be 45 minutes. Have you ever given a speech that's been longer than like an hour?
Yeah, and even Toastmasters let me do one at a club. Yes, I believe writing a longer presentation is so much easier than writing a shorter one. One thing you do have to keep in mind, and this is the sad reality, they might tell you, hey, you have an hour and a half, 90 minutes. You get there, they're running behind, they've had technical issues. They go, listen, you only are going to get 30. So you need to know your presentation inside, outside, what you can and cannot cut to keep it congruent. You need to be flexible and on the fly. I went to a conference and I was supposed to get 50 minutes. I got up there, they were having nothing but problems that whole conference. They go, you're going to get 10. And I go, it's going to be the best 10 minutes. You put those butts in the seat. I'm going to give them 10 minutes. And I made sure to deliver the best 10 minutes out of my presentation that had them wanting more. And it's like, you just got to be flexible, be ready.
Okay.
Steve, where do we find those ghostwriters and course builders?
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. If you even put that on, hey, who can help me write a book on Facebook? Ay caramba, you're going to get hit. One of the greatest things is LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn, you can do a search, find people who actually do that for a living, not some weekend warrior doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Find the ghostwriters there. And I mean, I connect with a lot of people in the publishing and ghostwriting. I'm more than happy to share those people because some of them have courses, go figure that, teaching you how to do it, but then they also can do it for you. So they're doing the full service. Same thing with courses. I know some people who are like PowerPoint, what do they call them? PowerPoint masters or something. There's actually a true term for it. People who are designers. There's a whole science behind PowerPoints. Yeah, obviously, I didn't learn that science, but I keep it simple. That's my whole goal. I don't want to overflood the pages. But there are people, I'd say search LinkedIn is probably your best retail source.
Mm-hmm.
There's Fiverr and those others, but LinkedIn, I think, will get you who you want.
And typically, if you were going to be like a luncheon speaker for an association, what kind of general fees would you expect as opposed to, say, a keynote address that you're traveling for?
It all depends on the whoever's putting on the function, because they have a budget. And I have seen, I went to one association, they said, listen, we could pay for your hotel, your travel, and your car ride. It was all the same hotel, so we didn't have any car rides, but hotel, travel, and we're going to give you dinner. And that's what you get.
Okay.
And I was
So you
like,
may
okay,
just get your trip.
just the trip. So I said, okay, wait, can I sell from the stage? And they said, absolutely not. So I had to work a way in. I go, can I have it? So I worked out, at least negotiated a table at the event. Guess what happened at the table? Sold my books, sold my courses, sold all my products. Why? I didn't do it from the stage. I had to monetize the trip somehow.
Right.
But I got paid a really good dinner and a nice trip. So it's all over the place. And I've seen some keynotes right now, being so competitive, it's getting harder and harder to find the $10,000 keynote presentation, which is usually about an hour. Because that's all people can usually sit after being in a conference for so long.
It's
But
been about 10 to 12 years since I've actually done that kind of paid speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like you get the trip plus maybe $250 for
Yeah.
your time or something.
Yeah, there's a couple associations here in the Valley that they have them at a restaurant in a back room. But there's one association I loved. I make a hard fact to go speak to them every year because they hold it at a 4-star restaurant, and the food, that's how you get paid, is the food.
Yeah.
And guess what? All right. But you always get clients and sell your books and a few other things out of it.
And you get to meet people.
It's a lot of fun. They're a great group. I've been trying to crack into the national one of their association, and I got in, and then they canceled their conference. So it happens.
Yeah, it'll be there again, though.
It'll be back, and they're on my list. And it's persistence, because the speakers who are not persistent fall off, because you got to think these event planners are getting bombarded with pitches all day long. They're only going to look at a couple. And that's why you have to make yours really compelling. What are you going to give that audience to make them go, oh, we picked the right person?
Ladies and gentlemen, what other final questions do we have? You can either open your mic or you can type in a question in the chat.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Randy.
How long would you say it takes to make a $10,000 speaking gig? Like, what does it take years to develop?
I don't know. I've known some people who got paid right out of the gate like that, but they had something so compelling, something so unique that no one else saw it. One way to get that kind of money too is maybe do like a half-day training session with a corporation. Training will usually pay more because they're bringing you in for a specific function.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you're getting paid to speak, but you're training. So training usually can pay those out faster from a corporation. Getting on that keynote stage, those 10,000s are pretty hard to find, but the bigger companies and more international, they do have still some of those for like I'm going to say the lower level speakers. So I call it the warm up acts. You know,
Right.
you're not going to go up there. And I got bumped by Mike Rowe at an event. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to get bumped, Mike Rowe, I want to go see Mike Rowe speak. You guys don't know him from Dirty Jobs. This guy's very compelling and captivating. But when they told me and they laughed about it, they go, do you want to open for Mike Rowe? And I'm like, heck yes. And then they called me back a week later. They go, oh, Mike Rowe just got bumped down to your spot. You're out. I go, who bumped Mike Rowe? And he goes, Damon James from FUBU.
Oh, yeah.
They got him.
Oh, okay.
And they blew their whole event budget on him.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it happens. It's out there. You just got to build the name up and get out there and palm press to meet other event planners too.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Steve, once again from District 3, your time has been very valuable to us, and we appreciate so much that you were able to share your wonderful wisdom with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everyone for showing up. Hope it helps, and get out there and get paid to speak.
Thanks, Steve. Good night, everybody.
Good night.